Okay, so we spend so much time, so much time, optimizing our lives, right? Optimizing sleep, optimizing mornings for output.
For efficiency, yeah.
Exactly. But today, maybe we need to start somewhere else, not with optimizing, but maybe with surrender. We're going to do a deep dive today into something quieter, that very first moment when we wake up, the philosophy, and maybe even the surprising biology of it.
It's the ultimate ignored moment, isn't it? That space before the day truly begins. There's this profound silence there. And it's not just, quiet. It's the silence of pure potential.
Potential.
Yeah, like the hum between heartbeats or the stillness just before you take a breath, before your mind even claims it.
And yet, what do? Instantly, we rush right through it, fling ourselves back onto the timeline, grab all the worries from yesterday, figure out who we have to be today. It's like jumping straight into armor.
Straight into the story.
Yeah. So our deep dive today is really asking why. Why do we run from that quiet, sort of unformed state? We're looking at threads from, ancient Zen ideas and even some modern thinking about our nervous system.
It's a fantastic question. I think maybe we mistake that potential for just emptiness. Or worse, for nothing.
Right, like it's just blank space to be filled immediately.
Exactly. But what if that first quiet, almost unconscious pull of air, that tiny expansion in your chest, what if it's more than just biology, finishing a cycle? What if that very first inhale every single morning is actually a kind of birth, a subtle one?
A birth, like a complete re-entry, not just picking up where we left off.
A fresh page, handed to you, not just turning the page from yesterday's story.
Okay, that's the mission then, to explore this quiet revolution hidden right there in waking up. See what we can uncover about reclaiming it.
Let's unpack that paradox then, gently, because the insight, especially from a Zen perspective, it's really quite startling. It suggests you are reborn every single morning, and you almost never notice it happening.
Reborn, that's a big word. We expect rebirth, or big change anyway, to be dramatic, right? Flashing lights, huge epiphanies.
Precisely. We expect thunder and lightning. But this kind of awakening, it arrives more like morning light filtering through a thin, papy screen, so soft. It feels like almost nothing, but it actually resets everything.
Okay, I can appreciate the poetry of that, I really can. But here's the practical bit I struggle with. If the slate is wiped clean, maybe even biologically, like the nervous system recalibrating during sleep, then why, the instant we're conscious, do we pick up the exact same worries, yesterday's regrets, tomorrow's anxieties? Boom, they're right there. It feels like continuation, not a fresh start.
That's the mind. The mind loves habit. It reaches for the familiar path, the known story, almost immediately.
Okay.
But look closer, maybe not at the thoughts, but at the body itself. This is where I think the biology and the philosophy meet beautifully, that very first breath you take, before conscious thought really kicks in. The body, in that moment, is expressing what the Zen tradition calls shoshin.
Shoshin. Beginner's mind.
Right.
The state of having no preconceptions, being open.
Exactly that. That first exchange of air, it holds no memory, no story, no future anxiety. And neurochemically, something is shifting. The brain's moving from that deep sleep state, parasympathetic, back towards the alertness needed for the day, the sympathetic system.
So that shift itself is like a metaphor for rebirth.
It is a biological rebirth, in a way. For just a tiny window, that breath is pure, unedited presence. You dissolved into something formless during sleep, and now you return. Not as a continuation, but as a beginning you didn't have to strive for.
But isn't that where the tension lies? We're talking about this huge fundamental reset.
Yeah.
A gift, you called it. Grace. Happening effortlessly.
Yeah.
Yet everything teaches us growth requires effort, grinding, striving. And the moment this grace arrives, I know I do. I squash it. I reach for my phone before my feet even hit the floor, instantly grabbing that thread of obligation.
We seek distraction, perhaps, because the effortless nature of it feels, empty or maybe even unnerving.
Maybe, yeah.
But think about it. You don't do this breath. It happens through you. You're the witness, not the author, in that first instant. And if we could just acknowledge that, surrender to its unconditional arrival. There's freedom in that. The Zen texts are quite clear. The moment you try to control the breath or control the moment, you lose that beginner's mind.
Okay, that makes sense. So let's pivot to, application. If that first breath is so key, how does that inform the rest of the day? Where do we look for the profound then? We're so conditioned to seek enlightenment, or whatever you want to call it, somewhere else. on a retreat, up a mountain, in some dramatic breakthrough moment.
And we're taught to seek separation, aren't we? Me here, enlightenment over there.
Right.
But the core insight, particularly from Zen, it challenges that completely. The sacred isn't somewhere else, it's right here, in the immediate, the tangible, the, dare I say, mundane. That's the whole point of those koans, those baffling little teaching stories. You know, the student asks the master, what is the Buddha? And the master says,
3 pounds of flax.
yeah.
I remember that one. So specific. And so ordinary.
Exactly. It's precise because it's ordinary. It's saying rebirth isn't some mythic event happening elsewhere. It's in the weight of your coffee cup right now, the steam you're watching rise, the feeling of the handle. I think the modern koan, for almost everyone listening, is that thought that pops up first thing. Okay, do I actually have what it takes to face today to get through this list?
Oh, absolutely. That is the daily koan. And it can feel really daunting, especially when you're already feeling fragmented, you're just overwhelmed by everything. So how does paying attention to a bird singing outside actually help me tackle, that urgent email that's stressing me out? That's the disconnect I feel sometimes.
But the answer emerges when you realize the question itself might be slightly misplaced, or maybe irrelevant in that moment. The answer isn't in analyzing the problem again, but in the sensory details happening right now. That clean, sharp sound of the bird, the little click your kettle makes just before it boils, the smell of coffee brewing. When you really hear that sound or truly smell that coffee, fully present to the steam curling up like incense, the question about having what it takes often just dissolves.
Dissolves. Okay, but look, my kettle usually screams at me, and honestly, sometimes the sensory stuff just reminds me of the list. I smell coffee and think, right, need caffeine to tackle the emails. The problem doesn't always dissolve. I still feel I need to solve it.
Perhaps the shift isn't from solving the problem to ignoring it, but from solving to meeting the moment as it is.
Meeting the moment.
Yes. The teaching everyday mind is the Tao. It suggests attention is the real currency, not necessarily achievement or problem-solving efficiency. The mundane becomes the mirror. So if you brush your teeth, but not while mentally composing that email reply, if you brush your teeth like it's the first and maybe the last time you'll ever feel the bristles on your teeth,
Wow, okay.
then the act itself becomes a kind of ritual, not because you made it sacred with some special intention, but because you finally fully showed up for it.
So the goal isn't necessarily to be more productive in the brushing, but just to be present in the brushing.
Exactly. When you fully commit your attention to what's happening right now, whether it's folding laundry, waiting for the elevator, listening to the kettle scream, you break that cycle of constantly striving for the next thing. The quality of your attention shapes the quality of your experience. It doesn't matter if you're climbing a mountain or just tying your shoelace.
But that striving, that feeling that I need to be present, that often feels like the problem. Like, the harder I try to be present, the further away it feels. I create this distance just by trying so hard.
The paradox of effort. You put your finger right on it. The more you try to grasp or hold on to presence, the more you create a gap. There's me trying and presence over there that I'm failing to reach.
Exactly.
But presence isn't something you achieve. It's residual. It's what's left over when you stop chasing it. The practice is perhaps just noticing the moments when the chase stops, even for a second.
That reminds me of that old Zen story, the one about the master telling the monk just to sweep the courtyard. The point wasn't really about getting the leaves up, was it?
The broom was the teaching tool. The lesson wasn't sweep well. It was the total immersion in the sweeping, the feel of the handle, the sound of the bristles, the movement. Your keyboard can be your broom. Your walk to the car, that's your pilgrimage. Can you be fully here just while locking the door? That's the kogan playing out all day long.
This really requires a quiet revolution in perspective, doesn't it? A fundamental flip in how we see ourselves and awareness.
It really does. And the quiet revolution, boiled down, might be this. You are not waking up to your life each morning. You are waking up as your life.
Waking up as my life. Say more about that.
We usually think of awareness, consciousness, as something inside our heads, right? Like a little pilot looking out through our eyes. A light switch we turn on.
Yeah, pretty much.
But the deeper understanding flips that. It suggests that your skull, your body, your thoughts, they are all happening within awareness. Awareness is the container, not the contained.
Okay, reverse the container.
Yes. And when you genuinely feel that reversal, even for a moment, the whole orientation shifts. You're not a separate observer struggling to catch up or control the world. You are the world witnessing itself, the awareness experiencing the kettle's scream.
Let's get real about the morning, though. Often it's not peaceful. There's real chaos. Kids yelling, emails already flooding the brain, that jolt of panic when you realize you're late. If we embrace that noise, that anxiety,
Yeah.
is that still presence? Or do we have to somehow find stillness first before it counts?
You absolutely do not need to quiet the mind to be present. That's a common misunderstanding, I think. You only need to notice that you are already here with the noise, in the chaos. The noise is the silence wearing a costume, the anxiety, the racing thoughts, even the feeling that you're failing at mindfulness right now. These are all just expressions of this moment. They aren't obstacles to the moment. Presence is simply honesty about what's here. It's not necessarily peace. Sometimes it's honesty about the kettle screaming.
That really cuts through the striving. It takes the pressure off needing to feel a certain way, like calm or centered. It reminds me a bit of Zhao's famous koan answer. Just a single word, mu.
Ugh.
Ooh.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's not yes or no, it's like a verbal cutting sword. It slices through the whole premise of the question being asked about Buddha nature. It leaves just this, the raw, unfiltered suchness of this moment.
Suchness.
And applied to the morning or any moment, maybe the ultimate koan is found in the pause. The space between the exhale and the next inhale, that tiny interval, it has no name. It's just a deep hush, like snow falling in a thick forest. Everything arises from that space and you can touch back into it anytime. It's always there beneath the noise.
So when we ask, who am I? Maybe the point isn't to find a neat answer, but to sort of inhabit that nameless space, rest into the question itself.
Precisely. You inhabit the question. And the answer, if there is one, is always simply this breath happening now, this sensation in your hand, this quality of light, the silence underneath the traffic noise. You're not trying to become enlightened or perfectly present. You're just remembering that, in a way, you never actually left the state of pure beginning. It's always right here.
So if I'm distilling the core takeaway from this deep dive, from the philosophy and the practice, it seems the deepest truth, the biggest reset, isn't in some dramatic transformation or big achievement out there. It's actually found in the simple, maybe profound rhythm of returning again and again to this moment. It's like a daily, unmissable invitation to begin again.
Beautifully put. And the final piece of wisdom, perhaps, for you to really consider is this. You don't even need to choose to awaken in this way. The gift arrives regardless. The breath comes whether you notice it or not.
Right. It just happens.
So maybe stop trying to grip mindfulness so tightly, with so much effort, and instead just allow mindfulness, allow awareness to hold you, like a leaf that's surrendered to the river's current. You don't have to paddle frantically towards presence. You just need to stop resisting the current you're already in.
So what should we leave the listener with as they maybe think about their next morning, beyond just notice your breath? Any practical invitation?
An invitation, yes. Tomorrow, when you first wake up, before anything else, just pause. Don't rush to become anyone. Don't immediately reach for your phone like it's a lifeline pulling you back into your obligations.
Just lie there.
Just lie there for a moment. Feel the air coming into your lungs. Try to feel it as if it's the very first time. Not as a task, not as mindfulness practice, but just as a quiet miracle. Let the stillness settle just for a beat. Ask nothing. Expect nothing. Just be the space where the question, who am I today, could arise. And then just gently let the question go unanswered.
Okay.
And maybe here's the provocative thought to just mull over, to carry lightly. If every morning is truly a birth and every night is a kind of death, then every single breath in between, well, that's an entire lifetime, isn't it? This one right now. So the question isn't how to live your whole life perfectly. It's just how will you live this specific breath? Not perfectly, not even productively, just completely present to the simple fact that it's happening. And it's the only one you truly possess right now.